Okay.
That's my green.
All right.
I'm going to take off my green shirt to get one of those.
Good morning. This session of Madera County Board of Supervisors is now called to order. And there we go. We're on screen. For those of you that are listening by live stream, there's many people who are anxious today, many people who are alone and in need. This is a real opportunity to serve others and help others, and to give to those who can't help themselves, and this is a good time to do that. It makes us reflect on what's most important in life, and that is our friends, our family, and our God. And we look to those things this morning, and we enjoy those thoughts. Be positive. The sun came up this morning. It will come up tomorrow. And we will all weather this and come out on the other side in good shape.
Got some good rain, too.
Yeah, we got some wonderful rain. The crops are going to grow, and life will go on in a good way. And we just need to be calm and do the best we can with what we've got. So working together, and thank you, sir. Thank you. And last night I was nursing a baby lamb that was born, so I didn't get any sleep. So if I make any faux pas, you'll understand. But this baby lamb reminded me of something, and I'm going to just take a pause this morning and share it with you. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will not fear evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup is running over. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. May those words comfort you as they have comforted me. And now, County Council, do we have any additions to the minutes?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we do have on closed session under Government Code Section 59457, Education Code Section 32281, threat to public services or facilities, consideration of tactical response plan, consultation with Sheriff Jay Varney. And we will need a 2/3 vote to add that to closed session.
Okay, I need a motion to take up this item from necessity. Okay, motion to take up this item as the need arose after the posting of the agenda.
Second.
There's a second, and let's vote.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
See?
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay, very good.
We also have a resolution that we need to add
Okay.
to public session. And that resolution is a resolution of the Board of Supervisors of Madera County ratifying and extending the declaration of local emergency and local health emergency, COVID-19. And we also need a 2/3 vote to add that to the agenda.
Okay, do I hear a motion? A motion is made of necessity to take up this item after the posting of the agenda. And then we have a second. Let's vote.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez? Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you very much. We will now retire to close. Read in the closed session items, County Council.
Yes, Chairman and members of the board, there are 5 additional items on your agenda for closed session. The first is under Government Code Section 54957.6, Conference with Labor Negotiators. Your agency designated representative is Alba Gomez, and the employee organization is all units. You have conference with your legal counsel for significant exposure to litigation. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9, there's 1 case. Your real property negotiations, your conference with Darren McCandless, your county administrative officer, related to assessor's parcel number 012054003, and the address is on the agenda. Under negotiations is price, terms, and conditions of sale. There are two items under Government Code Section 54957, public employee appointment and employment of your chief clerk of the board, and the performance evaluation of your interim county administrative officer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We don't have any public in the audience, but I failed to ask for comment from the public, and I'll do that now on any of the closed session items, including the additions to the agenda. Is there any public who wishes to address us on those items? Hearing none, we'll close public comment, and we will retire to closed session.
Then
far
we
as-
don't have to pay to them. Yeah.
All right, we're going to give people a chance to get in the room here, but the meeting of Madera County Board of Supervisors has been in session. We're not finished with our closed session yet, but we will ask County Council anyway, are there any items to report out of closed session?
Chairman, there are no reportable actions from the morning session.
Okay. At this point, we have additional items to consider to adding to the agenda. Would you bring forth those items, please? We'll take these one at a time.
Yes, Chairman, in light of the presidential declaration and recommendation to not have public meetings for the next 15 days, the Board of Supervisors is planning to cancel the upcoming meeting of March 24th.
Okay.
There are several items on that agenda that the board is considering making findings to add to today's agendas as subsequent need items. If we take those items one at a time, the first is to consider entering into an agreement with the California Forensic Medical Group to provide quality medical, dental, and mental health services to inmates and wards incarcerated at the Madera County Department of Corrections and Madera County Juvenile Hall. This agreement supersedes and replaces all previous agreements between parties for a 5-year term and authorize the chairman to sign. There'll
Do I
be
hear a
copies
motion?
of that agreement
Yeah.
available for the public as well as the board.
Okay, I have a motion to find necessity that this rose after the posting of the agenda, and I have a second. Let's vote.
I'm sorry, and the motion and the second were by which supervisors?
Supervisor Wheeler and Supervisor Frazier.
Thank
But
you.
it don't work, so, because they're not on the agenda, I guess, huh?
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Yeah,
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez? Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Supervisor Rogers votes yes, too.
Oh.
That's okay.
I get to vote twice now, so we're.
That's okay. No big deal. Next item for consideration to add to the agenda.
Under County Administration Department and General Services, consideration of approval to adopt a resolution approving the transfer of one sewer unit from APN 059-200-010 to 059-200-020.
Move to approve?
Okay, before I do that, any questions or comments from the public on the previous item or this item? If not, I heard the motion to find necessity that this need arose after the posting of the agenda. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, motion and seconded. Let's vote.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes,
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay,
Only
and the
one vote
third
this
item.
I'm sorry?
I only get one vote this time?
Third item?
Chairman, the third item is a resolution appointing the Director of the Library, Krista Riggs.
Okay.
And all of these items, after they are added to the agenda, you'll get a separate short presentation so you can consider the items.
Okay, and it is suggested that this item be given discretion to the CAO to approve the contract? Is that what we're looking at? or-
No, Chairman, there will
No,
be.
no, that was the previous one. We'll discuss that during the item.
Yes.
This one is, you've described it enough. Do I hear a vote?
make the motion.
Motion made to find necessity that arose after the posting agenda. Second by Supervisor Frazier. Let's vote.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes,
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay, very good. So we have those items. We'll deal with them in order after the consent calendar, and then we'll move on to our public calendar. At this time, we're going to open our session. Is there anyone to open and close in memory of?
yes,
Tom, go
I
ahead.
have one. Jim Wilson, raised up in North Fork, and His family were just super great. His brother Randy, they both worked for Cal Fire. Jim used to work for me at the ranch before he went to work for the Cal Fire. And he's probably 10, 15 years younger than me. And he, after he retired out of Cal Fire, he moved, he was stationed in Red Bluff. He stayed there. And he went out, I guess they think he had a cigarette or something. And they found him 2 weeks later. He had a heart attack and died. And I can't tell you how nice the guy is. His son lives in North Fork, and he used to work for the Forest Service. I think he's does private business now, cutting trees down. So, but he's got some grandkids in North Fork, and his dad used to have the lumber yard in Mariposa. That gave me, I bought all the lumber from him to build my house, actually. So,
Wow.
he's a great guy. I can't even tell you how shocking it was when I found out Saturday. So, thank you.
Yeah, when you hear the word grandpa, it kind of resonates with me more now because I have 4 grandchildren, and I think of how my role in their life and what it would be like if they didn't have me in their life, and to hear somebody that's lost a grandfather, it definitely resonates with me more now than ever. I think as we go through phases of life, these things come to mind, you know? It's really something. So we will open and close in his memory. Go
I
ahead,
have one
Brett.
too. Last night, my father-in-law found out that his uncle, Dwayne Queen, passed away. He was like a father to him. He had gone and stayed with him in Florida most of his formative years, and unfortunately, he still is out in Florida, is going to be unable to attend the funeral of him, and so I just wanted to open and close in Dwayne Queen's name.
Absolutely, absolutely. So important to memorialize those who mean a lot to us in the record for their lives they've lived. It's important, very important. Okay, with that, any others? We'll stand at this time. I'm going to ask my good friend Dave Doherty, chaplain at the CCWF, is it? VSP, I'm sorry. And VSP Men's Prison, and he's going to deliver the invocation. And after that, we'll have the flag salute.
Let's all bow our heads. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod, thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Father, I thank you for the Madera County Board of Supervisors. Watch over their families. Watch over the families here in Madera. We pray for healing of the coronavirus. Pray for families, we pray for jobs, pray for businesses, schools, leaders. Lord, I thank you for our leadership here in Madera. Bless them, direct them, watch over this city, this state, in this country, in this world. We ask these things in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. John McCann, veteran of Vietnam, would you lead us in the flag salute, please? To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, that really is a great way to start the meeting, and the second time we heard the 23rd Psalm this morning, so we must really need that this morning, and I think it's great to dwell on good things that are of virtue and praise, and let that be the center of our life. A consent calendar. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go to public comment.
Public comment. The first 15 minutes of each regular session are set aside for members of the public to address the board on any matter under the jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. The board will not take action on any items presented under public comment. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet at the podium and state their name and county of residence for the record.
Okay, any public to address this body this morning? We have one coming to the mic. Good morning.
Good morning.
Chairman Rogers, Supervisors, Stevie McNeil, Madera County Agricultural Commissioner Sealer. We had a very important call yesterday. Secretary Karen Rogers of California Department of Food and Agriculture got a conference call for all of the county ag commissioners in the state, and the message is that it's essential that we keep the food supply flowing in these uncertain times. And I just want people to know that we are doing our part here in Madera County. Just a couple things. Statewide, over the last few years, Madera County has ranged to be between number 9 and 11, so we hover around number 10. For out of 58 counties in the state, we are very, very important for the ag commodity food supply and keeping that going. We also, just a couple things, we're number 3 in the state in raisins. We're number 4 for pistachios and almonds and nut crops, which are used in a myriad of products. Number 5 for table grapes. And number 7 for cattle and calves, which is our livestock supply, which unfortunately we've seen some bare meat counters lately. Also 2 for milk. We're number 8 in the state. So our message is that ag commissioners, we're doing everything on our jurisdiction. We will keep the food supply going, and we want to assure the public, both the constituents of Madera County, the region, and the state, and the world, that things are going to be continuing on, and we will continue the food supply and make sure that it gets out there on our part from Madera County.
Great. That's a great message, Stevie.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, the winds may blow, but the farmer's still in the field plowing, and that's awesome. That's an awesome message right there. You have
Or
something?
shaking.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Good deal. The almonds are coming down, huh? Right on.
They're growing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
done blooming already.
A great source of food, fiber, and protein. It's really awesome.
I got one little one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I had just a little over an inch of rain and snow, 2 inches of snow in Nuwaunie there. And we're up to 10.94 inches. Last year I checked just to see what we had, 31.3,
Wow.
1/3 of the rain.
Wow. So we pray for more. We need more.
Thank you for that good news, Tom. We really appreciate it in these times to
It was
bring
a
us back
really,
to reality of how.
Yeah.
it was really a great wet rain yesterday. Really,
It's so thin.
excellent.
That's the only good thing
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, we more to come though. It says on the weather charts. So we're looking for that. Absolutely. Any more public to address this board? If not, we'll move on to consent calendar. Any questions on the consent calendar? Any questions from the public on the consent calendar? Hearing none, I'll bring it back to the board. What's your pleasure?
Move to approve?
Motion is made.
Second?
Motion made and second. Let's vote.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez? Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Great, thank you. Let's go to public item 1. Six A.
All right, 6B, Sheriff Coroner's Office.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Discussion and consideration of approval of receipt of unanticipated revenue, number 19-126, in the amount of $2,300,000 derived from Sheriff Tree Mortality Disaster Relief to professional specialized services for fiscal year 2019 to 2020. 4 votes required.
Yeah, I did remove item 6A for a future date, so it'll be back on the calendar for later on. Thank you, Sheriff. Go
Good
ahead.
morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. This is a continuation of the tree mortality project. This funding amount was agreed upon between ourselves and Bill Begay in terms of something that the county can't afford at this time in terms of mostly what you're spending here is a recycling of reimbursements you've already received for tree mortality work over the past 3 to 3.5 years. We expect that we will expend this by June 30th. Lord willing, with all this COVID-19 thing going on, we think that the tree mortality crews can still get out and work.
Right.
There's more than enough work for them to do.
Right.
In your next fiscal year, We may or may not come back to you with another project, and there's a number of different mitigating factors there why we would or we would not, but we can discuss them at a later time. I do want to just let the board know, because you may have read it and hey, what about contract update? The update to the Blue Ridge contract will be coming before you on your second scheduled meeting in April.
Okay, very good. What's the pleasure of the board on this?
I got a couple of questions. I just
yeah.
wanted a statement, not questions. I can't thank the sheriff and the crews and what they've done. They've done 12,513 trees so far.
Wow.
And
Excellent.
And that covers 370.94 miles.
Wow.
Of areas. So, and plus the area around Bass Lake, Sheriff's Office and all that they've cleared too.
That really brings it back. That statement reminds me, how do we eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right?
Yeah.
That's what this
Well,
is.
if
is
you guys
an elephant,
remember-
elephant in the room.
Yeah, about 2.5 years ago that we brought this to you as a sheriff, and we voted 5-0 to, do that matching dollar, that 25%
Right.
of $570-something thousand. So
Right.
that's the reason we're doing this, because you
Right.
guys generously done that out of our reserve, and of course we're getting it back, but
Absolutely.
it's paid off. And
Yes, it has.
I tell you,
Yes, it
I
has.
can't tell you what's done, but it's so bad with all this drought we've had this year, how many trees are dying again right now.
Wow.
Every time I drive around, I just can't, unbelievable.
Wow.
So, thank you, Jay, and your crew, so.
Well, thank you, Supervisor Wheeler. We'll pass that on to them.
Any questions from the public on this item? Hearing none, bring it back to the board.
Make a motion to
I'm
approve.
seconding it.
Motion made and a second. Let's vote.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yep.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
6C.
Tell Joey thank you, Jay.
6C, County Administration Department, General Services Division. Discussion and consideration to waive informalities and minor irregularities and accept the proposal from Harris Construction /Sim PBK Architects for the Hall of Justice project as responsive to request for proposal number 2019-09.
Staff?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Maria Castro here with County Administration General Services, here with Jorge Mendoza, our Capital Projects Manager, and Scott Cross with County Counsel's Office.
Hold on.
As your board is aware, in April 2019, staff released a request for qualifications to design-build entities to design and construct the future Hall of Justice project on county-owned property located across from Madera Superior Court. In June 2019, bidding for that project closed for request for qualifications, and we received one statement of qualifications from the design-build team, Harris Construction Sim PBK Architects. In October 2019, staff released request for proposal number 2019-09 to that DBE as the sole pre-qualified bidder. As your board is aware, with Public Contract Code, we were only allowed to release the RFP to those that pre-qualified. In January 2020, staff returned to your board to seek direction on project scope and financing options. Your board directed staff to continue with the design-build project delivery method, to proceed with a 3-story building in lieu of the 2-story alternative proposed by the DBE, and to proceed with staff's recommendation that the county finance the project through certificates of participation as opposed to the leaseback model. Staff then released an addendum reflecting board action to the DBE.
Technical difficulties, and David is working on them for us. Hey, there we go. Good man. Thank you.
On February 28, 2020, the proposal deadline for the project closed. The DBE did submit a timely proposal, but it was incomplete. Staff requested the documentation from the DBE, and we also extended the deadline to March 6, 2020. Although the DBE provided additional documentation, forms were still missing. However, as of March 13th, the DBE has submitted all forms as required by the RFP.
So good morning, Chairman and Board of Supervisors. Where we are with the current project status. Pursuant to Section 5.5 of the RFP, your board has the discretion to waive any informalities or minor irregularities in the proposals. Your board, therefore, has the authority to make a determination that the late submission of the required documentation is a minor irregularity. Should your board decide to accept the proposal, staff will return to your board with a design-build contract with the DBE for consideration. Pursuant to Section 4.6B of the RFP, your board also has the option to deem the proposal ineligible for consideration. Should your board decide to find the proposal ineligible, staff will return to your board with options to move the project forward for your consideration. This next slide shows our current project budget. Architectural and services and construction costs are estimated at $26,600. It should be noted that this, should your board go into contract and accept the proposal, this is a guaranteed maximum price provided by the DBE. Construction contingency is set at 1.8 as shown, and overall project is at 31.1 million. The anticipated timeline for the project is for design and construction is to complete December 2021. Move-in period will be from January through February of 2022. The next slide shows a preliminary elevation and rendering of what the DBE has proposed as the Hall of Justice project.
Nice. Beautiful.
It is a 3-story building, as you guys requested in the previous January board meeting. Here, it's a preliminary layout of the 3 floors. The first floor is basically composed of conference rooms, interview rooms, public lobby areas, and some probation operations. The second floor is, again, probation administration, shared break room and training room, as well as some DA's operation offices. The third floor also shows administration for the district attorney's office.
It can be smaller now that we only can have 10 people in a room at a time, right?
We can look into that now. Well, with that, I want to thank you all for the time and thank you. And we'll open it up for questions.
Well, thank you, staff, for your hard work on that. Any questions from the board on this item? If not, I want to go out to the public. Any comments or questions from the public on this item? I see none.
Move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to accept the proposal as, am I correct on that?
Yep.
Okay, to accept the proposal as offered.
Do we have to
on
actually
time.
waive informalities and,
Yes.
or is that just part of the part of that?
Motion, yeah.
As part of the motion to, the resolution to accept the proposal as submitted. Motion made and seconded, let's vote.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
5-0 vote, and thank you, staff, for getting this done. Appreciate it. Always on the dime, as it were. And we look forward to having a new Hall of Justice built in our community.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Okay, beautiful building, beautiful building. 6D.
6D, County Administration Department, discussion and direction to staff on available options to fund wildlife prevention efforts within Madera County Supervisorial District 5. Option 1, general purpose increase in the transient occupancy tax. Option 2, special purpose increase in the TOT. And option 3, explore other avenues to fund wildlife prevention efforts.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Joel Begay, County Administrative Office. After a further review and working closely with County Council, options 1 and 2 remain the same as presented back in February. There is no way for us, we explored every avenue, there's no way for us to limit the zone of a TOT allocation or where TOT is applied. So options 1 and 2, whether a general purpose increase in the TOT or a special purpose increase, remains the same as presented back in February. We did, however, add another option, which is basically forego any options related to TOT and continue working with the District 5 community to find other creative avenues in order to fund wildfire threat prevention, and also recommendation to terminate any existing agreements related to the proposed and potential ballot measure for increasing the TOT.
Okay, thank you, Joel. Any questions from the board? Tom, go ahead.
Yeah, this is, it's really hard. We had all these great ideas. We thought we could get this through like the BID and stuff, and we can't really do that by law. I mean, we've had many meetings on this. We talked about maybe talking to Senator Borges and Assemblyman Bigelow and see if they could maybe change some of the rules in the TBID rules and see if we could have special districts like this, because I guess a couple cities or counties have tried this, and there's a group of lawyers that go out and look for this stuff so they can sue and cancel them and take away, and they, just like the ADA people and stuff like that. So if we do the upper one, the first option, then we'd have to just have to 55% vote to win it. The second one, we have to have 66%. And I just, after Measure L and the way the schools all, they really got whipped bad this election in March. I mean, but the worst it's probably been in 20 years. And I just don't know if the whole county voting on this would, I just don't see them supporting something that don't support them, help them, I guess. I mean, it does, when you do brushing and all that, it does create more water, which is very important. Up to 30% if you clear the property right, with the crown covers and everything. So I just don't know what to do. I'm at a standstill. I mean, I can't tell you how hard Brett and I worked on that Measure L, and to get defeated as bad as it did, my team, I think that talking to Joe and the lawyers and stuff, maybe trying to work with everybody and you guys too to see if there's something we can come up with later, that might work. I love the idea of the TOT because 95% of it is paid by visitors. Same with the sales tax, 60 to 70% of that is paid by the visitors up there, especially up there. And how do you get that? How do you get that message over to the people? I just don't know.
Pretty tough nut to crack right now.
Yeah, I think it was one of those things. We were going down, and this is what makes it great is like we fail fast, figure out what doesn't work, move forward, trying to find other ways, and maybe getting into that brushing and the studies with that, and see how that can play in with our overall Sigma in the GSPs. How to show that if we can, if you could prove that brushing up there replenishes the groundwater down here.
Well, there's lots of studies that prove it. It's just getting it through the people's head, the knowledge of how.
Yeah, through the TOT, but I think through the Sigma process might be a way that we can look at it in terms of looking at that as a project to increase our overall water balance while also having a huge benefit to the air quality.
Big time.
Could be, a way that we could look at going for that. Is that just another project, and if it allows people to still be able to farm and get that, I think that might be where we can go through option 3. But I know even looking at putting the tax on, I think you have to have, in a regular election, has to have a supervisorial candidate on the ballot. So I think we would have had to have gone into a special election.
I believe that was stated in February. We did check that. It's not an absolute requirement. So if we opted for 1 and 2, we could put it in November ballot. Now, though, as a practical matter, even if that's your board's direction, with restrictions on community meetings and outreach, I don't know how feasible it would be to do any kind of.
Well, and even beyond that, everything has changed right now, our new normal.
The timing.
There's going to be this increase of need for funds for a stimulus package regarding COVID-19. People aren't going to have money. So, the economy is going to be completely different by November. And if we were to go out and ask for a tax of any kind, whether 95% of the people don't live here or have to pay for it, it's not going to matter. It's going to be defeated no matter what. Pretty much any tax that's ready to roll out in November is going to have, it's just
negative effects.
So I think it's good that we went through the process to look at it. That's what we're supposed to do, is look at different ways to fund these issues. not just saying that we don't have enough money. So I'm glad we went through the process. I'm also glad that we're not so set in our ways that we're just going to force something that's not going to work and spend taxpayer money going after a defeated.
Right.
And that's exactly what Supervisor Frazier. And in fact, there's a couple of leads that we're looking at, and we're continuously working with District 5, the District 5 community, and we're going to continue to do that.
Right.
Option 3 was about, since we're ruling out options 1 and 2, so that we could terminate any agreements and save those funds. That
Right.
was going to go into those consultants.
Supervisor Poitras.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree with Supervisor Frazier with his comments in regards to timing, but when the timing is right, I do think, and I don't, maybe I look at the positive side of things, is option 2, it does sound counterintuitive to go with something that requires a higher percentage of the populace to approve it, but I think we could make the case that it benefits everybody in the county. It's not only, it should be hugely popular in our mountain communities, for insurance purposes and on and on and on, but also the watershed issues for people here regarding the Madera Basin and Chowchilla Basin and so forth. So I do think that, again, when the time is appropriate, I think we could gear up in option 2 and make a case county-wide.
Right. I think the timing is just an issue right now. Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with that. I think that if we've preached the message a long time here, at least 10 years or more, that the watershed is critical and the health of that watershed is critical to what we get in the valley. And most farmers are aware of that now. That is a very commonly talked about theme, even at farm bureaus and what have you. So I think they get it, and I think it would be just a matter of how it's worded and how it's promoted.
You title it Water Supply and Wildlife Fire Prevention, because it does the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's honest. That's an honest assessment of the framing of that. Supervisor Wheeler.
Yeah, I didn't get finished there, but the things that I've talked to quite a few businesses this over the weekend. I mean, everybody was calling me mainly about being shut down and stuff, and I talked to two of the resorts, and one of them was they've already lost $60,000 worth of reservations, and the other one said they've just lost $120,000 total. So you know that those resorts and hotels are not going to support this because they're already trying to be competitive with everybody else to, survive right now through this emergency.
Right.
So I just think that, I hate to be defeated.
I know.
There's nothing worse. And if I hadn't done brushing like this most of my life and control burns and have those cogens going where we've done all those 33,000 acres of clearing, it wouldn't bother me as much. But when you're in that and doing it just like farming, if you can't farm tomorrow, it just hurts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what's going to happen with this water deal right now, who knows? But anyway, I'm ready to concede, and I'm going to make a motion to stop the contract with the Grassroots Company and keep staff and myself and you guys, if you want to keep working on something to see what we could come up with at a better time in what the economy and everything is right now.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any questions or comments from the public
Mr.
on that?
Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, it's a purchasing agent agreement, and the item to cancel that agreement is not on the agenda. However, you can give
Staff
some
directions.
direction.
Because
And we can bring that back. I don't think the board approved it. Go ahead, sorry.
So option 3 would allow us to notify and follow the termination procedures that's outlined in those agreements. So that way, we have instructed them that we're on hold anyway. So we're not incurring anything, but this just kind of formalizes that we won't be proceeding with 1 and 2.
Very good. We
That's
have a
in my
motion.
motion.
Okay. We have a motion and second. Any questions from the public? If not, let's vote.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
No.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Good. 6,
Thank you, gentlemen, for being so supportive. I can't.
you're welcome.
Thank you
6E.
enough, so.
6E, Human Resources Department, discussion and consideration of approval to amend the classification plan by adding the class of water resources specialist 1, 2, and 3 effective March 17th. And there are several different explanations on how they're going to be amending the classification plan.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Elba Gomez with the Department of Human Resources. So this presentation or request is to amend the classification plan for the Department of Water and Natural Resources to develop a classification for a water resource specialist. Basically, this classification is going to allow them to meet the requirements that they need for the department, bring in an individual that's going to have that specific knowledge that they need for the department. This classification was presented to the Civil Service Commission at their February 12, 2020 meeting, and there is no current fiscal impact associated with this request.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Seeing none, any questions from the public?
Second?
No public comment. We'll bring it back to the board. Let's vote. I have a motion second from Supervisor Frazier and Poitras.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Makes no
Yes.
difference.
Passes 5-0.
I would get her done.
Next item.
Elba, have you got a card yet?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
There are no orders.
Okay.
Item 6F.
That's not on the agenda, Tom.
6F, Board of Directors,
You there?
Special Districts, Maintenance District Number 22A, Oakhurst, Public Works
sure?
Department, Administration Services Division. Discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution ordering the making of amended assessments pursuant to Part 10 of Division 10 of the Streets and Highways Code and directing actions with respect thereto. Set the public hearing for April 7th, 2020 at 10:30 a.m.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
Hi, boss.
Hello, sir. What we have here is a property owner within an assessment district up in Oakhurst sewer plant, subdividing a property. As such, and whenever a property in that type of a district subdivides, the assessment lien needs to be apportioned to each of the newly created parcels. So, excuse me. In order to complete the apportionment, the Board of Directors, which is your Board of Supervisors, is requested to hold the public hearing and subsequently order the clerk to sign and record the amended assessment diagram and the notice of amended assessment. So the department recommends to move forward with this.
Okay. Any questions from the board? I don't see any. Any questions from the public on this item?
Move to set the public hearing for April the 7th at 10:30 if we have a meeting that day.
Okay. All right.
Second?
Motion is made and second. Any discussion? If not, let's vote.
And I'm sorry, the second was from?
Poitras.
Thank you. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you very much. Okay, so that takes us to the end of the agenda, and we still have some closed session items to finish, but I want to just finish out the agenda so that when we come back, we can just report out.
Well, Chairman, there are also 4 items that
Oh,
were
I'm
added
sorry.
as
Thank you.
subsequent need items.
Thank
So
you.
just to,
Oh, boy.
the need arose after the posting of the agenda, and in light of the presidential guidelines, 4 items were added to today's agenda and will likely be added to the next Board of Supervisors meeting for ratification. Those 4 items, one is a resolution that Director Sarah Boss and Dr. Simon Paul are available here to present to you. The other 3 are Director Manuel Perez and Interim CAO Darren McCandless are available to present the agreement with California Forensic Medical Group. The third is an appointment of your library director, and your Director of Human Resources, Alba Gomez, will present the board presentation to you. And the last item is the approval of a resolution, and your General Services Manager, Maria Castro, will present your board presentation on that.
Okay. Very good. Thank you for keeping me in line here. I'm moving a little too fast, my mind here. So Dr. Paul, come to the microphone.
And I will also add, all documents are with the clerk of the board and available for the public on these items. One will be by minute order by Director Gomez. Thank you.
Right, and for the items that were added after the closed session, those items will also be ratified again in a later meeting, so the public will have an opportunity to comment on those items that we've acted on today. Go ahead, Dr. Paul.
So yeah, Chairman of the Board and board members, thank you for the opportunity to briefly update you and the public on the current situation with COVID-19 in Madera County and some of the reasoning behind this emergency declaration. Basically, the current situation in Madera County is stable. We still have only one case who is isolated. There's no evidence of community spread. However, obviously, there's clearly community spread increasingly close areas in other counties of California, and trying to prevent the spread of COVID-19 to Madera is increasingly impacting people's lives here. So the purpose of this emergency declaration is really to work toward prevention and, if needed, control in the future. It would allow us to obtain resources and more flexibly assign staff to effectively work in continuing to prevent the spread of COVID-19 and, if needed, trying to control an outbreak in this area.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from the board for Dr. Paul? I think he's done a fantastic job, along with our Sarah Boss from Public Health, in attacking this and keeping us informed. And if you're out there in the public and you have questions, you can go to the Public Health website. You can call 311 and they can direct you to that. There are a number of options, but one source of information in Madera County. And it's very positive news, I think, for our county. We pray for that for the rest of the country. These precautions are necessary to keep us from having a spread of the outbreak, and I absolutely would adhere to the advice that is given by our medical professional, who we brought on no less than 2 months ago. Once again, Madera County in the forefront of a problem that we didn't even know existed, similar to our IT situation when we had directed them to prepare for a disaster, and they had done that, and we were there to head it off. So there's some good things happening in Madera County. God is with us, and we're grateful. Any questions?
County Council.
County Council.
Yes, Chairman, just to clarify for the record, the item for the board's consideration is a resolution of the Board of Supervisors of Madera County ratifying and extending the declaration of a local emergency, which was issued by our Director of Emergency Services, Sheriff Jay Varney, and a local health emergency, which was issued by our local health officer, Dr. Paul.
This also puts us in line for federal funding if there are, of necessity, those kind of things, and it opens
Mutual
up
aid
many
support.
options.
That's the reason I wanted to speak.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I had a couple people ask me about property taxes, if they, if they're late on their property taxes, if they're not getting any income on some of these businesses, will they be penalized, fined for being late? I don't know if we can look at that, but see if we could do that, because that's one of the main, from 2 different businesses, kind of weird. And, but anyway, that's something I'd like us to look at to see if Tracy can waive those. I don't know if she can or not, but.
Yeah, that's a state mandated issue, so we'll find out and probably bring that back at a later time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you for that question. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions for the doctor?
Thank you, Doc.
If not, I would hear a motion to
approve.
Motion to approve. And is there a second?
Yeah.
Motion second from Supervisor Wheeler.
I got it.
Any comments or questions from the public on this item? Again, these are our items. This item is precaution, and that's what we do here. We don't want to be foolish. We want to be wise in our approach to this serious epidemic that is worldwide, harming people. We are concerned about our elderly and our people that are most vulnerable with lung diseases. So wash your hands, follow the guidance all of these things are so important to listen to and not to ignore.
Tom, so Tracy just sent to me that the state sets that, so until the state relieves that, it has to stay in force until it would be from the state.
Right.
It does gotta come, okay. I can relay that, so.
Let's vote.
Right now. It could be changed though, too.
Yeah, they might change it.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's
call-
vote.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you, Dr. Paul. Thank you for your good work, and so glad you're here.
Yep.
Thank you. And thank you, Sarah, as well. Thank you.
It looks like, just to follow up on that, from Adam Gray's office, filing your taxes, the state of California has given taxpayers more time to file state income tax returns to June 15th.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Supervisor Frazier.
I hope federal.
Google
falls,
advice.
otherwise It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Usually, when you file your federal, then they just kind of go
Right,
in
do it
the
at the same
state.
time. I know,
Yeah.
So that's not gonna help many
Yeah,
people
that,
out.
anyway. Okay, so we have another item, and that would be from the administration, on the administration level. Who's going to handle that?
So is this
Maria?
to transfer the sewer unit or the?
Yes.
Medical? Okay. Consideration of approval to adopt a resolution approving the transfer of one sewer unit from APN 059-200-010 to 059-200-020.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Maria Castro, General Services. Before your board for consideration today is a resolution transferring one sewer unit from county-owned property APN 059-200-010, which is the former Bass Lake Courts, to APN 059-200-020, which is 9.92 acres of property that is currently in escrow for sale to Four Bay Farms. The purchase and sale agreement erroneously noted that the property had 21 sewer units associated with it. However, there were only 20. So to rectify the issue, staff is recommending transferring one sewer unit from the former Bass Lake Courts to the 9.92 acres. Both are within Service Area 2A. The Bass Lake Courts has 13.5 total sewer units, 9.6 of which are commercial standby units. We have checked with Public Works, and the transfer of one sewer unit will not adversely impact the property. Additionally, the assessment for that sewer unit will be transferred from the county property to the new owner, which is $690 a unit per year. And with that, staff is open for questions.
Any questions for Maria? Very capable general services person.
Move to approve.
Move to approve, and motion made and second. Any questions from the public on this item? None? Bring it back to the board. Let's vote.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yep.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez? Yes. Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Very good. The next item is the jail medical services.
Consideration of entering into an agreement with California Forensic Medical Group to provide quality medical, dental, and mental health services to inmates and wards incarcerated at the Madera County Department of Corrections and Madera County Juvenile Hall. This agreement supersedes and replaces all previous agreements between parties for a 5-year term and authorize the chairman to sign.
Okay.
Good morning, Darren McCandless, Interim County Administrative Officer. The item before your board is to enter into an agreement with California Forensic Medical Group to provide medical, dental, and mental health services to inmates and wards incarcerated at the Madera County Department of Corrections and the Juvenile Hall. If you recall, after a lengthy RFP process, your board heard presentations from 3 proposers back in December. At that time, a decision was made to issue a notice of intent to award to CFMG. Since that time, the parties have come to terms on an agreement. The initial term of the agreement is a 5-year term with an effective date of March 1st, 2020, running to February 28th, 2025. It contains 2 additional 1-year terms. And Chief Perez has joined us and is available for any questions.
Any questions for Darren or the chief on this item? Okay. Any questions from the public on this item?
Move to approve.
Motion is made. Is there a second?
Second from Max.
Oh, Max got it.
Max got the second on that. So we have motion and second. Again, no questions from the public? Okay, let's vote.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay, the appointment of the library director is the next item. Elba?
Good morning again. This item is for a resolution to approve the appointment of your library director. Since you don't have anything in front of you, I'm going to read the entire resolution, and then you will be getting the copies of that later on, okay? So, resolution to appoint Krista Riggs as Madera County's library director, whereas the office of the library director position is currently vacant, whereas the Board of Supervisors desires to fill the vacancy, whereas a recruitment has been conducted to fill the vacancy, whereas Krista Riggs presented herself as a qualified candidate for the library director position, and the Board of Supervisors desires to appoint her to the library director, and whereas Krista Riggs desires to be appointed to the library director and is available to begin employment effective April 13th, 2020. Now, therefore be it resolved by the Board of Supervisors of the County of Madera that Krista Riggs is hereby appointed as Madera County's library director effective April 13th, 2020. The salary for this appointment shall be set at range 395, step C, which is $125,249.81, effective April 13, 2020. Krista Riggs should also receive the normal employment benefits, including all cost of living adjustments afforded to an appointed department head for the County of Madera by the Board of Supervisors, with the exception of the following. Pursuant to the Public Employees Pension Reform Act of 2013, Krista Riggs is considered a classic member of the CalPERS retirement system and shall be subject to the applicable benefit formula that was in effect as of December 31st, 2012, which is 2.7% at 55, including all relevant provisions outlined in the County of Madera's retirement contract with CalPERS, plus the inclusion of the employer-paid member contribution for department heads who are defined as classic members. To allow the auditor and the Department of Human Resources are authorized and directed to take all necessary actions to implement the resolution.
Okay, and another quality member added to our staff, Dr. Riggs.
We still have to vote on it.
Yeah, if we pass this.
No.
Another quality member. We have great people working.
Make the motion to approve.
Motion is
Krista
made to
Riggs.
approve. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Motion made and second by Supervisor Portress. Any question from the public on this item? Thank you for reading that into the record. Soon to be Dr. Elba.
Yeah. Yes.
Another doctor. I'm really proud of our people. You know what? We employ the kind of people that want to better themselves, so they better their service to the public. And that is really a great attribute. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Bill passes 5-0.
Any pending legislation?
Nope, they're shut down.
Yay.
Yeah,
Thank God
baby.
for that. They can't vote anything on us that'll hurt us.
That's great.
Yeah, supervisors and staff reports. Supervisor Rodriguez, none. Supervisor Frazier,
None.
okay. I had one item that I needed to report on. That's attended the Rural County Representatives California, RCRC as we know it. There's an interesting concept that the board is considering through their GSNR, which I told you about, that was recently formed, the Golden State Natural Resources group that was formed by through GSFA, which is Golden State Finance Authority. They use their proceeds to fund part of that organization. We are currently looking at a business model to take the biomass from forests and create fuel that will be sold in other parts of the world and all over the world. In fact, there are 3 types of pellets that can be created from the biomass. There are white pellets, gray pellets, and black pellets. And they're fuel that can be burned, almost completely burned in the processes. And I won't go into the details of where and when, but the business model is being looked at very closely. The processes are being scrutinized very heavily by our GSNR, and the board's relating to that. I sit on the board of directors for all of these things. And the neat thing about it is they already have a buyer for, I believe, 500,000 tons, which would translate into $100 million. That money would be brought back into the GSNR to fund some of our forest restoration projects.
Beautiful.
What a wonderful organization, and I wanted so bad to talk about that under the TOT deal.
Yeah.
But I thought I'll just save it for my comment.
Right.
This is going to be one of those benefits to our forest region.
Yeah,
That's
that's
amazing. So stay tuned and stay plugged into that. It's going to be good. And I've got to commend Greg Norton, who is the CEO of RCRC, who has led the charge on this particular issue. He has helped set up this organization and looked for these opportunities to create healthy forest management. It's awesome stuff. Supervisor Poitras.
Last week, I attended the San Joaquin Regional Policy Council in Sacramento. Had a couple of, well, they were all really interesting meetings. We didn't meet with as many legislators this time. We met more with department heads and so forth. We met the new Caltrans executive director. He's been on board since October, and he's from Tennessee. So he doesn't know much about California at this point, so
He's going to learn.
he's going to learn.
He'll learn real fast.
Exactly. Yeah, I think he mentioned he came on board when this Highway 99 thing happened, and then so that was good.
So you want to go to Central Valley too, real quick.
Exactly.
We're more like Tennessee here than they are there up in Sacramento.
Well, and we reminded him too that it's even though it's one state, it's not a one size fits all.
Right,
you know,
exactly.
which I believe the governor mentioned in one of his messages over the weekend. He said what we do in Contra Costa County is not what we do in Madera. So we're on his mind too.
He used us.
That was at minute 39 in his conference.
Wow.
Also, Secretary Kim from CalSTA, he made mention of us, and he knows us very well here in Madera, and so we've got the attention of Sacramento, and that's
We got to
really,
keep it
really
there.
good.
We got to
And
keep it there.
We're going to
the
keep
fastest growing county in the West. I mean, come on.
it there. Well, it had a lot more to do with getting in their face. But anyway,
Well, when you're fastest growing county, you got to do that, right?
there you
And
go.
that's probably why we're fastest growing county.
There you
Supervisor
go.
Wheeler.
Yeah.
Thank you for that report.
Yeah, I had a town hall Thursday night in Raymond. It was pretty good. We had about 25, 30 people there. And I want to just thank all the people that came to talk, and Jay Varney, he was there. And we had a lady from the public health, I wish I could remember her name. She took some heat from 2 or 3 of the people because they didn't think we were doing enough. So I had to get up and protect her, what I felt, and I just wanted to thank her so much for being there and giving the input, because she was very great. And I just wanted to do that. And on that deal, on that making those pellets and stuff, also on the biomass plants, if they're really good, like the one we're putting in Norfolk, it produces biochar, which is also a filter for water and putting it on the ground for fertilizer and for retaining the water for crops.
Right.
It's big time. So
Yeah, that's a great product.
yeah, it is, and it's very expensive. So they can they'll probably make more money off that than they will electricity. So
Yeah. Excellent. I love to see multi-use facilities like that
kidding, boy.
help our environment, really do a job helping our environment. CAO Darren McCandless.
Nothing to report.
Let me report on Darren. I want to just say, Darren, I'm going to say this because it needs to be said. Darren has really done a job for us at this county. He has stepped up and good leadership. He's taking on a lot of difficult challenges, and this is a critical time to have good leadership. Thank you, Darren.
Thank you.
How about
Before
Joel?
Darren, no coronavirus. After Darren, coronavirus. I don't.
Joel's out there. all
And
by
Joel
himself.
also, Joel has been his right-hand man. And
How about Manuel?
but yeah, man, well, let's praise all of them. We have great staff, all in general. It's awesome.
How about Rhonda? How about Tatiana?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a team effort. It really is.
Dave Rogers.
Oh, I don't know about that.
No report, Chairman.
Thank you. Rhonda,
No reports. sir.
thank you. Okay, so with that, we're going to retire to closed session and finish out our closed session. Okay, we are back from closed session. County Council, anything to report out of closed session?
Chairman, there are no reportable actions from today's closed session.
Okay. We're going to cancel the March 24th meeting due to the current health crisis. Those items that were going to be scheduled for that meeting, 3 of them were dealt with today, and the rest will be dealt with in the following meeting, and we will ratify our decisions on those 3 items that were taken today, and that will be done on the April 7th meeting. So we will be reconvening in our regular meeting on April 7th. There's no further business to come before us, and this meeting is adjourned.